Good morning, afternoon, or evening to you, depending on where you're watching this from in the world. Scooter Rob here with round 3 of this F1 2016 career mode. This race is the Chinese Grand Prix. It's not one of my favourites, but let's go to the race weekend.
Okay, I've got something for you. The new parts have been fitted to the car. The simulation numbers are good, so look forward to your feedback. Check out the details.
So as you can see there, a massive amount of updates heading into this race weekend. But I think we should stop staring at this screen. Let's get on the track for practice 1.
Good morning and welcome from Shanghai. The wet conditions here today are likely to prove an especially difficult challenge as the teams begin their preparations for the weekend's Grand Prix. I'm here with Anthony Davidson once again. Nice to see you, Ant, and I wanted to ask you about how you go about improving the car over the course of a practice session. How much would you say is already known from the pre-race simulations? And how much do you have to do, how much do you have to work on with a real car on a real circuit?
Well, that's a good question, Crofty, and I suppose the simple answer is that there's no such thing as too much information. As you say, the bigger teams have very complex simulations, vast numbers of clever people crunching the numbers back at base, but what they can't tell you is stuff like how the track condition's going to be, or what the temperature's going to be doing over the course of the day, and how all of that's going to be interacting with the tyre. There are so many millions of tiny variables involved in getting these cars around a racetrack quickly, but the computer can't tailor the car to a driver's specific balance requirements. At some point, you still need to put a human being in there and have them feel it through the seat of their pants. And that's why we end up with different drivers having different setups. So what I'm trying to say is, Crofty, nothing beats on-track testing.
Okay, so here we go. This is the practice session, first practice for the Chinese Grand Prix. And as you can see, the track is absolutely soaking wet. Now, this is not exactly my favourite circuit at the best of times. And in the wet, it's even more tricky. But I figured I'd go out and do a few laps just to get used to the track in the wet, just in case come later on in the race weekend I might need to have this knowledge as to what the track is like. And it didn't actually feel too bad in the wet. I felt the car actually was quite decent with the default setup on, just to get my used to the track in the wet. It was okay. It wasn't about lap time. We move further into practice 1, and we're going to start the track acclimatization test. This track, this first corner especially, has multiple lines through it, and this game basically says, right, you have to do it this way to pass. And as you can see here, I struggled here. That's not normally the line I'd take. We cut a little bit further into the test here on the second lap of the 3-lap test, and as you can see, I absolutely completely miss the hairpin and then struggle to find a gear as I accidentally put the car in neutral. But we cut to the 3rd lap of the track acclimatization test, and as you can see, bar this corner here, where I do get a green corner here, it's completely purple. It's the best track acclimatization lap I've done so far, and I wouldn't have thought that it would come from China. As you can see, there are 2 green sections of this lap, and we passed the track acclimatization test with flying colours. We're going to do a qualifying sim here to end practice 1, but as you can see, I completely overdo it trying to warm up the tyres, so therefore I have to move on into practice 2 to do the remainder of the tests. I decided to do the tyre management test next. Now, as you'll see on this lap, this track is absolutely brutal on tyre wear. It is absolutely ridiculous. It's almost a little bit stupid how much they take out of the tyres, this track does. We're going to cut a little bit further into this, and look at this, we're in the red and there's just no escaping it through these fast corners here. They just punish the tyres. Even though I'm on the soft tyres, they're just absolutely pounding them. Look, we're right at the bottom of the red section of the bar. So we're just really struggling here, sliding around. I'm trying my best to try and keep the car on the circuit and be as smooth as I can. We'll cut to the end of this first lap, and look at this. We are absolutely slap bang at the bottom of the red section of the bar you can see on our screen. This track is just unforgiving, so unforgiving on the tyres. We're coming to the last corner. I basically have to try and back off to see if I can reduce the tyre wear, but in doing so, I drop below the delta time that's required to pass the test. So I get a little bit miffed off, to be honest. It's the first time in this career mode, where I've decided I'm just not going to do the tyre management and just take my conclusive data from that the tyres are going to suck around here. That's basically what I came from this. My data from the tyre management test, that the tyres are going to die within about half a minute. We cut here to the qualifying sim around here, and just the track is just, it didn't, just my driving style in the car, it just didn't suit a run like this on the super softs. But we come across the line here. Bear in mind we're on the super softs, and we do pop up in P4. That's practice.
Hi, how are you? I'm just passing on your qualifying goals for this weekend.
I'd like to welcome you from wherever in the world you join us today for this F1 qualifying session here in Shanghai, China. I was looking at some highlights of previous races here, and the one thing that really stood out to me was the run down to turn 1. It's not an easy one to navigate, as everyone is scrapping to get into there first.
We've seen in the past how tricky the first corner is. It's not an issue in practice and qualifying, but if you throw a lot of highly competitive drivers at it all at once, you've got an entirely different situation. The smarter drivers will be able to temper their approach and stay out of trouble, but it doesn't mean it's easy.
Here we are then, and it is qualifying for the Chinese Grand Prix, and as you can see, the track is soaking. So that is really, really interesting. I was hoping for a dry session. I decided to go for a setup that would suit the race more than qualifying, and let's just see where we end up. As you can see, I'm being extremely tentative, as there's just not much grip, sliding around quite a bit here in these wet, tricky conditions at the Shanghai International Circuit here in China. We're coming into this section here, this corner here, down to second gear, trying to pick up the throttle, up to third. Sliding around a lot here. We get a massive slide coming out of this corner here, but we're going to cut a little bit further into qualifying on our second run. Our first lap popped us up in second behind Daniel Ricciardo, but we cross the line here, and we actually do take pole position at this point in the session, which is a very surprising thing, very surprising to pop up in P1. We cross the line here, we go even quicker. Is it enough? Not quite. We will start the Chinese Grand Prix from 5th on the grid.
I have some information on the race goals you should keep in mind.
So those are our race goals for the Chinese Grand Prix. Let's go to the race.
Hard work, ingenuity and ambition. All things you'll find in abundance amongst the 15 million people of Shanghai over there to our southeast. And we've got plenty of that here on the grid as well. 20,000 horsepower, give or take, chomping at the bit to be unleashed for the Chinese Grand Prix. Shanghai International Circuit then, a 16-corner high-speed thrill ride. The long and ever-tightening right-hander at turns 1 and 2 tests a driver's patience, and the flat, open to the elements location, tests their skill in a crosswind. 2 DRS zones will assist passing, and overtaking is available into turn 1, and of course down the kilometre-long back straight into the hairpin at turn 14. Joining me once again to take you through this race is the effervescent Anthony Davidson, and I'm very much looking forward to it getting underway. You raced here, of course, didn't you, back in your Super Aguri days in that infamous Chinese Grand Prix of 2007?
Yeah, that's right. I didn't last that long, though, unfortunately. Qualifying had gone pretty well, but my brakes failed quite early in the race, around lap 10 or 11, something like that. And of course, back in 2004, I was the very first Formula 1 driver to complete a lap of this circuit. Just thought I'd mention that for you, Crofty. You like a good stat. It's a fairly tough circuit on the brakes here, though. You know, there's that long back straight down into turn 14, and then you got turn 6 and 11. They're quite heavy as well. On top of that, managing your front tyre wear is always a challenge around here, so there's a lot to keep in mind during the Grand Prix.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
Alright, so we're coming round now for the end of the formation lap. I've decided to skip the formation lap. It's standard affair now. before the start of a Grand Prix. Starting 5th place. Now, as you can see, I'm starting on the super softs. The rest of the cars around me are starting on the soft tyres. I've gone for a very, very aggressive strategy here to try and maximise what we can do with this car, as I don't think our race pace is going to be strong enough to keep us within the top 5, maybe not even in the top 7 or even the top 8. So I decided to go for a very aggressive strategy. So we start on the super soft, stop for another set of super stops. So I actually went for a 2-stop strategy here, a little bit ambitious. Super softs, and softs. That's the strategy I've gone for. I think the rest of the cars have gone for something a little bit more conservative due to the tyre wear. Let's see if we can make it work. The 5 red lights are coming on, and the Chinese Grand Prix is underway, and we get an absolute rocket ship start. We're straight past Ricciardo in the Red Bull, and we're alongside Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes. Rosberg holds station in the lead. Raikkonen is still second, and we are past Lewis Hamilton's Mercedes, and we're up the inside of Kimi Raikkonen's Ferrari through this long first corner, round the outside into turn 2. We had to hold off a little bit due to the yellow flags, but we can go racing again. We are in 3rd position out of the first couple of corners here for this Grand Prix, and we get a really good run here on Kimi Raikkonen. We go to the inside, and the move is done. We're up to P2 halfway through this first lap. It's far better than I expected on this opening lap of the Grand Prix. Accidentally tell my race engineer that I was going to box this lap. That was definitely not the intention. The back end is already sliding around. The tyres feel okay, not brilliant, but okay here on this opening lap of the Chinese Grand Prix. Sliding around, we even just go off there and leaving us pretty vulnerable. Heading into the bottom end of the circuit here, we've lost Rosberg. Rosberg's gone. We're holding up Raikkonen. There's no way we can maintain this pace with the front runners. They are automatically a lot quicker than us. My car isn't the best round here. I'm not the best round here. I don't like this track. It doesn't suit my driving style at all, and I can already feel the tyres choice might be wrong here. I tell Jeff to shut up as I realise I'm going to have to go defensive here on Kimi Raikkonen. We pull to the right-hand side. I'm looking in the mirrors, and Kimi's still on the racing line. We pull back across. We're safe enough. A little bit of squirming around on the brakes into the hairpin. We hold station in 2nd place, but Raikkonen and Hamilton are giving us so many headaches at the moment. Coming into the end of this first lap, Rosberg leads. We're in 2nd, sliding around all over the place. End of lap 1. We now cut to about near the end of lap 2 onto the massive straight here for the end of the 2nd lap. And look at this. They're not even going to get DRS. They don't need it. They're so much quicker than us. Look at Raikkonen. He's got an absolutely fantastic toe down this back straight. So we try and pull back into his slipstream. But look to our left. Lewis Hamilton will come steaming around the outside of us. Raikkonen's on the apex. Hamilton's on our left. And we get squeezed by the 2 cars. Hamilton capitalizes and goes up into 2nd place. Raikkonen down to 3rd place. We're down to 4th. We're the biggest losers of that entire exchange. We've lost 2 spots, and we're already coming under massive pressure from Sebastian Vettel's Ferrari. We have a look around us. Is he close enough to have a go into turn 1 on this occasion? Into turn 1 we go. Raikkonen holds on. Sorry, Vettel cannot go through. We hold on. We cut a little bit further into lap 4. We've gone too deep into this corner, and Vettel is through. We're dropping like a stone here. These tyres are already going off. Vettel is up to P4. We're down to P5. This is just not how I wanted to start this Grand Prix at all. We have definitely picked the wrong tyres, as on the softs, everyone is still so much quicker than us here at this point in the Grand Prix. Vettel speeds away. There's nothing we can do about it. We'll cut a little bit further on into lap 4. We've decided we're going to box this lap. We're playing around with the hood here, trying to decide what times we're going on. Now look what happens here. We do not realise how close we are to the hairpin, and we've basically kamikazed Vettel. Sebastian's out on the spot. We only get a warning for it. Unbelievably, I was full-born expecting a drive-through penalty or some sort of major sanction for that. We have taken out one of the front runners with a boneheaded move into the hairpin by my own standards, I have to say. Breaking into the pit lane here to take our first stop and to get off these absolutely awful super softs. The worst decision I could have made was to start on these tyres. I think I have completely overestimated just how bad the tyre wear is, and that's a pretty not the greatest stop. Was it a 2.9 second stop there for us here? We're dropping down the field. We're in 19th place now, behind Jenson Button in the McLaren. Oh, it's all gone horribly. We've kind of had to pit out of sync. This is Pascal Wehrlein now that we are chasing down for... Oh, no, sorry. Is that Wehrlein? He's a lap down. Sorry, Verline's a lap down, actually, and we're going up the inside. Verline not exactly helping us here under blue flag situations. I was getting a bit confused as I thought we were chasing Button, but in fact, we're still in 19th, so we don't even get the, you know, the encouragement of making an overtake on another car. Nico Hulkenberg is out of this race. Now watch this. The safety car comes out. The safety car comes out. A huge moment in the race. We're on lap 8. I immediately stick the car in lean mix, and I've made the decision now that we will pit at the end of this lap, and our race engineer is put a pop-up on the radio and say, look, how we switch strategies. It's about right to get off these soft tires and go in sync with everybody else. I 100% agree with him. He even beat me to it, so I couldn't even make the strategy call myself. We double confirm we're going on to the softs at the end of this lap to try and get back in sync with the rest of the field and try and well, we're not quick enough on our own merit, so we have to try and capitalise with people's pit stops and undercutting them further into the race. We come in as we can basically get a free pit stop here. We're already so far down the order that this really isn't going to harm our race that much. As we come into the pit, our pit box, I think, to be honest, I actually think, well, were we slightly held up there? I think we might have been. Was Palmer in the pits? I don't know. It felt like a pretty slow stop, a 4-second stop, as you can see on the screen there. As we come out of the pits, we are down in 18th position. Alonso's the man in front of us. We'll cut to the end of the safety car period. It's gone green. Now, here we go then. What can we do after the safety car is coming to the pits? Everyone's scrambling around. We got that Manor at the back of the field who's just nowhere, really. We're struggling to get past Alonso. Here comes the tow. Blue flag's out. There goes the Manor. We get a double tow as Alonso's got problems of his own trying to keep us behind him, and we're past Alonso into turn 1. There's Verline's teammate Rio Haryanto, who once again is outperforming his teammate into turn 1 and 2. We are past the Manor. We're up to 14th position here. And now we join the back of this train on lap 14. It took a little bit of a while to catch up to this train. As we come onto this back straight, we will get DRS here for the first time since the restart after the safety car. And look at all this. All the cars are getting really, really tight into this hairpin. We get a really good tow. Do we have a look? Not quite. We'll go for a tighter line into the hairpin. There's Danny Kvyat on our left. We're coming up alongside him. Jensen Button in front of us. This is just dramatic stuff. Kiv's on our left. Oh, Kiv just understeers into us and he's round. We get a real slidey exit. We missed the corner completely. And now we got Roman Grosjean to contend with. Coming down into turn 1. Grosjean goes on the inside. We hold station, but we hang on just about. But no, we run wide. We understeer off the track. And there goes Grosjean. And we've hit Grosjean. And we've gone off again, trying to rejoin. Alonso and Grosjean have got ahead of us. We are down in 13th position. Just when things were maybe looking a little bit better for us, we completely botch it. We go wide again. Palmer's in the pits where, as you can see now, we come to lap 16. Again, sliding around. We just cannot hook up many corners here. And we got a car coming out of the pits. That is the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton. And once again, we go wide in turn 1. There's nothing we can do to handle this understeer we're suffering through turn 1 and through a lot of other corners on this circuit. Again, my driving style and the car and the setup and the tyres, it's all working against me here. And I really am struggling with race pace. We are in 9th. We'll cut to the end of lap 17 where we come in for our, our third stop? Yes, it is our third stop of this Grand Prix. We come into the pits, braking now. Now let's see where we come out in. We're currently in 10th, ahead of Daniel Ricciardo, but he's already made a stop. He's going to get past us, no problem. There he goes, into our pit box. Okay, stop there from the Renault boys. We get a trophy for that. For whatever we did there, I suspect. I don't even know what that trophy's for. We'll come out onto the track. We're down in 14th position. We are behind Fernando Alonso in the McLaren. Now we're going to cut to lap 22. Now it seems that's a long time to cut. We literally could not catch up to Alonso in that time frame. We did have a couple of good laps where we did get close, and this is the closest we've been for many, many laps. We start lap 23. We get a really good run on Alonso into turn 1, and we are past the Spaniard who has another look at it. But Alonso's been dealt with. We are up to P11 behind our teammate Julian Palmer here. Now, our race target was to finish 12th, I think, or higher, and my personal target was to beat our teammate. We got a yellow flag here on this back straight, and look to our right-hand side. That is a Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton parked up on the side of the track. His race is over. Now we come up behind Palmer. This is on lap 24. We're near the end of this race. These mediums that I've got onto feel absolutely awful. But we have still managed to reel in our teammate Julian Palmer onto the pit straight. DRS has been activated as we come over the start-finish line. We are pretty far behind, but we're going to get a tow here into turn 1. When we have a look, not quite. We are still behind Palmer, but Palmer goes wide. We drop some gears and get a really nice run in the inside of the corner. Palmer's still there, so we give him space. We are up to P9. P9 now, past our teammate. Now I'm going to cut a little bit further onto near the end of lap 25. We're coming on to the back straight here. Now watch what happens here. My race completely unravels. We get on the curb, we slide around. We've already lost positions to Palmer and to Alonso, but we slide again. Look at this, we're back onto the circuit, and we've been hit by Romain Grosjean's Haas. And we've got a 5-second stop and go penalty. For that, we have sustained damage as well. Just unbelievably... Oh, the car just slid around so much I couldn't do anything to control it. We come in for our stop to serve our stop go and get new tyres and front wing. But look at this. We sped in the pit lane. This race has completely unraveled right before us, right in front of our eyes. This race is all but finished. In fact, no, it is over. We are waiting for to be serviced. And there's the 5-second stop go. It has been completed. New front wing. We're sticking on a set of softs to bring us to the end. Even though we're only on lap 26 of 28. I decided just screw it. This race is done. I don't want to risk falling off the cliff on the super softs, as these tyres tend to last about 5 seconds, as has been proven this race weekend. We come back out onto the track behind Felipe Nasr. And in front of Romain Grosjean, but I guess we will really serve a penalty here, and Grosjean will capitalise from it, I guess, and move up into P16. There he goes. We come in for our drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Just, I cannot believe how bad this race has gone from the first lap. We were up in the P2. By the end of the first lap, we finished the first lap at the end of P2. We literally had to take this drive-through on this lap. Otherwise, we would have been disqualified, as it was the last lap of the race has just begun for us. We're coming out of the pits now, and as you'll see here, Nico Rosberg won this Grand Prix. I kind of wish he'd just got it, like, lapped us and just put us out of our misery, really. But we're going to come through the final corner, and at a track I really don't like, we have an awful race, and we finished 17th. 17th. We were P2 on lap 1. 17th. What an absolute shocker.
Brilliant stuff from Mercedes today. That's another historic win. Anthony, what do you think made the difference here?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
And here are our podium drivers today after that excellent race. They've excelled here, as they so often do, and it's a well-deserved victory. Mercedes, then, are on top today.
So that was the Chinese Grand Prix. A one to forget, I have to say. We finished in P17. Oh, what an absolute disaster from the start, really. Well, from the end of lap 1 into lap 2, where we just dropped places like a stone with really poor tyre wear. Let's forget this race ever happened. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you for round 4 for the Russian Grand Prix, a track I like better. See you.